Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel for a 2-in-1 video this week. Today I have for you all a March TBR attached with it, the Quick to Judge book tag. I was tagged by Renee at Beyond Books, and this original tag was actually from Ali Ristal. I'll have their information and channels in the description, but I thought since Renee tagged me and it was the beginning of the month, it's a perfect way to pick out my next read for March. And in addition to the book I'm going to choose from this big stack over here, I am also going to talk about some books that I will be reading for March. There is no TBR board game for this month. I think this month I want to have a little bit of a free vibe. I want to read what I have and I want to read what I'm able to pick up. I do have 2 books from the library coming in, and in addition to that, I also have 2 buddy reads, so my plate is a little bit full and I want to prioritize those reads first. But I'm going to quit my yapping and talk about this tag. Basically, this tag slash challenge, we're going to pick out 5 to 10 different books and read the first paragraph. From there, we're going to give our first impression and rank the books based on the first paragraph alone, and the one that ranks the highest is my next read. So a fairly easy to do tag without me needing to think too much about my answers. So I did pick out 5 books over here, and let me show you guys the stack. So we have 5 books. Oh, the stack is heavy. And I'm going to read the first paragraph of every single one of these books, give you guys my first thoughts, my first impression, and then we'll decide out of these 5 books which one is going to be on my March TBR. Now, from this stack, I have Geneva Rose, Home is Where the Bodies Are, Five Broken Blade, Animal Farm, The Great Gatsby, and The Midnight Library. All of these are from my TBR shelf. As I said previously, I am trying to prioritize the books on my shelf, and I have to say I'm doing a pretty good job. I think last month I read almost every single book from my shelf along with some library loans, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm going on a tangent again, so let's read the very first paragraph of The Midnight Library. This is really going to challenge my ability to read and showcase to you all my actual ability to read. So this is going to be either quite embarrassing or, not going to go that bad. So I think since this one has dialogues, and I think some of these do have dialogues, I'm going to read let me see, this amount. Yeah, for all the books. I think that'll be fair, right? So here we go. A conversation. First word, the second word of the paragraph, and I'm already struggling. Okay. A conversation about rain. 19 years before she decided to die, Nora Reed sat in the warmth of the library in Hazeldean School in the town of Bedford. She stared at the chessboard on the low table. Nora, dear, it's natural to worry about your future, said the librarian, Mrs. Elm, her eyes glimmering like her eyes glimmer. This is good. I think this video, the challenge of it is me being able to read out loud. Don't make fun of me, okay? I have nothing to say except I'm really bad at reading out loud, said the librarian, Mrs. Elm, her eyes glimmering like sunshine on frost. Mrs. Elm made her move, a knight hopping over the neat rows of white pawns. Of course you're going to be worried about the exams, but you could be anything you want to be, Nora. Think of all that possibility. It's exciting, okay? That was the first paragraph. It doesn't really scream to me in any way, any shape or form. It's just setting up like a scene. So we're gonna put that there. Right now, in terms of piqued interest, it's just kind of like mid, right? Okay, the next read I'm going to read from is The Great Gatsby. I have read this in high school, so oh, how nice. We have an essay due on January 6th. January 6th already passed, but it's all right. I'm not going to write an essay on this again. I'm sure if I dug through my old laptops, I could find my old essay, but all right, let's go to the first paragraph. In my younger, more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in the world haven't had the advantages you had. He didn't say any more, but we've always been unusually communicative in a reserved way. and I understood that he meant a great deal more than that. In consequence, I am inclined to reserve all judgment, a habit that has opened up many curious natures to me and also made me the victim of not a few veteran bores. The abnormal mind is quick to detect and attach itself to this quality when it appears in a normal person. And so it came about that in college I was unjustly accused of being a politician because I was privy to the secret griefs of wild unknown men. Most of the confidences were unsought. Frequently I have feigned sleep or hostile levity when I realized by some unmistaken sign that an intimate revelation was quivering on the horizon. I think I'm gonna end it there. That was a lot longer than I intended to read, and oh my god, I struggled to read out loud. The next book I have up is going to be Animal Farm by George Orwell. This one is on my 25. Is it gonna focus? This one is actually on my 25 in 2025. Let's read the first paragraph. Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked up hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop holes. With the ring of light from his lantern dancing from side to side, he lurched across the yard, kicked off his boots at the back door, drew himself a last glass of beer from the barrel in the scullery, and made his way up to bed where Mrs. Jones was already snoring. I think I'm just gonna end it there. And then I have Five Broken Blade. So this one, I know Lauren liked it enough to want to continue to the next book, but do not listen to the audiobook for this, which I am disappointed about because I really do like listening to audiobooks of things. You know, the font of this is a lot larger than I expected. Like compared to like what I just read, this one is a lot larger. Gold for blood, that's my advertisement and the words I live by. The merchant slowly counts out the gold mun, his gloved hand shaking as each coin lands in his palm. He's a little taller than me, but my shoulders are twice as wide. Hurry it up. I don't got all night, I say. My deep voice startles him, and two bronze mun clatter onto the ground. He lets the coins roll away, but pauses to consider chasing them down. 10 hells. This is gonna take 2 lifetimes. Okay, that is the paragraph-ish of Five Broken Blade. And now we are on to the final one, which is Home is Where the Bodies Are. And I'm expecting this one to be enticing since it's supposed to be a murder mystery. Okay. Do I read the prologue? Like they have a prologue. So do I read the prologue or chapter 1? Let's read the prologue. Okay. Nothing brings people together better than death. It's like the sound of a high-pitched whistle for a dog that has strayed from its owner. When it happens, they always come. Death reminds us that life isn't infinite and that one day our time will come too. We pause to listen to that reminder, to acknowledge it, to show it the respect that it demands. Then we spread out into the world like poppy on a dying dandelion, waiting for it to call us again, hoping the next call will be to gather rather than to be gathered around. Knock knock, don't worry, it's not for you this time. So obviously, I feel like it's a little bit biased because a mystery thriller, it's gonna set up and have something enticing to keep you interested in. And then, okay, so from the process of elimination, I think the Midnight Library is not going to make the cut. It seems like it's a very beginning setup to something and it's not quite interesting or it hasn't really grasped me. And also the way they use their apostrophe and their periods are a little bit different in this one. So I think maybe I'm gonna put this back over here for now. So Midnight Library is definitely not going to make the cut. I also don't think George Orwell is going to make the cut this month. I kind of vaguely already know the plot point and the book, so I'm gonna put it back. And then we are down to Home is Where the Bodies Are, The Great Gatsby, and Five Broken Blades. Now, the start of Five Broken Blade is actually kind of normal, kind of whatever. Whereas I think so it'll come down to probably between Home is Where the Bodies Are and this one, which is The Great Gatsby. Have we read any? Oh, actually, I just realized I can't based on what I'm reading this month. So even though I was like going to say like, hey, I'm reading a mystery thriller for March already, I am still thinking I'm gonna pick Home is Where the Bodies Are. I think the first premise, like the prologue is very enticing to me. So out of all of them, everything kind of just is setting up the story. It's very slow paced, building in, and this one stands out with the concept of death and how death gathers people around, or people are gathered around you. So I think the premise of this is okay, not the premise. The first paragraph ish that I read from Home is Where the Body Are definitely hits the best. So I guess this is going to be one of my reads for March. And I'm gonna put these back and then we're gonna talk about the other books I am planning to read for March as well. Okay, so now that I have shown how terrible I am at reading out loud and possibly even reading mentally, let's talk about the books that I'm planning to read for the month of March. The first two books are going to be part of buddy reads. Again, this year I'm trying to do a lot more buddy reads because I don't think I did that many last year, but the buddy reads that I participated in were so much fun, and I love having feedback, going back and forth, talking about the books themselves. The very first one being The Naturals, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with Chelsea at Libraries and Lattes. And then afterwards, I am going to be reading Gone Girl with Brooklyn at Brooklyn's Library. This is a chonker. I did not realize how heavy this book is. I will have to say, I know the big twist in Gone Girl. Now, I just want to see the execution of this book mainly because I feel like a lot of books nowadays are trying to do unreliable narrator. And I do believe Gone Girl is probably the stepping stones or one of the first few books to do it and do it really well. So I'm here for the execution of it more than for the twist. But who knows? Maybe I'll find myself really enjoying the writing and how it's all actually played out. Like I know what's going to happen, but I don't know how the buildup is led up to that point. And then maybe afterwards, I'll watch a movie to compare the differences between the book and the movie itself. Aside from the buddy reads, I do have two books that recently came through the library. The first one up being I Who Have Never Known Men. Now, this is a highly raved book from Ellen at the Ellen Made Book Club, and it's actually on my 25 before the end of 2025 from her. And once I read this book, it'll be crossed off and she has not led me astray yet. I'm really excited to read this book, see what it's about. Okay, she said you need to go into this book blind, and I was living it. I was doing my best. I skip over people's videos when they talk about it, even when they gave it like really high ratings, because she said it's best to go in blind and you don't know anything about it. And then I go on TikTok and I'm browsing TikTok, and then I there's just like a snippet of people because I'm on book talk basically specifically, right? And then someone was just having text and quotes from the book, and I was so mad. I was just like, there's no warning, there's nothing. Like, I get that whatever they said might have been like in the back or the first chapter, but I really wanted the experience of going in completely blind. And unfortunately, right now I do already know the premise and the setup of the book, which I don't know. I feel like if I read the book and I experienced that, I would have been, wow, I did not expect that at all. But it's fine. It's not a big deal to me to be spoiled, but I just love that I went out of my way to make sure I have the reading experience that Ellen suggests. And I just get spoiled on TikTok, and it's funny, but it's also not funny. Put your spoilers tag in, y'all. Or maybe it wasn't actually a spoiler. I don't know. I'll get back to you guys on that when I finish the book. What was I trying to say? Oh, and the next book that came through my library queue that I'm prioritizing is Heavenly Official Blessing Volume 1. This is actually a recommendation from Rebecca. She has been raving about this series nonstop. So I picked it up at the library and I'm finally off the wait list for it. So I'm excited to read it. I do know it's translated work, and Lauren actually read it pretty recently. And she said that the writing is very reminiscent of web writing. When I say web writing, I'm talking about like Wattpad and LiveJournal, where people write actual stories, fiction stories, and they put it on there. So it hasn't been completely modified and changed in the lingo. So it might be a little bit hard to get in. And I think what Lauren did was that she actually watched the animated adaptation of it. So I think I'm also going to do that as well to get me set up, ready, and into the universe. And yeah, I think that about concludes this video. It's a quickie, it's a short one. I know, surprise. Surprise for once that hopefully this video is going to be sub 20 minutes, even with my terrible attempts to read. Okay, and before I forget, I'm going to tag some people that I know want to tackle their physical TBR. Also have a lot of books on their physical TBR to get through. And you guys No pressure, you guys don't have to do this, but maybe it'll be fun to add into your TBR, monthly TBR video to help you guys decide on some books. The first person I'm going to tag is going to be Whitney at Tibra's Den. And then I think Jesse, I think this would be super fun for you to do as well. Or maybe you can also add it into your little prompt jar. And then finally, Nat at Nerdy Nat Reads. I think you are trying to tackle a lot of your physical TBR. So I think this would be a fun and quick way to pick up your next read as well. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video here. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for stopping by, listening to me to yap about all the bookish things. And if you guys do enjoy this video, enjoy the content, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!